So, Brian, you ready to become somebody who matters? Damn, that's a strong finish to the Open. It also keeps Edward Morrow relevant throughout the series by having him in the Open. And the episode 3, begins with Brian in bed recapping how his life has changed so rapidly. Um, it's like I said, it's a strong open that catches everybody up. It's a cool way to begin the show, with him remembering things. And the show itself is just like I said, it's strong. It's upbeat. It's powerful. It's positive. And Brian himself is a great protagonist to follow along because he's somebody that it's easy to get behind.
Yeah, he wants to do good. He truly does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's not about himself.
And so his bodyguards, or not even bodyguards, but his FBI agents who look after him, Mike and Ike, they now show up to his apartment to wake him up because they want to see what he sees on NZT as he takes the subway to work. And I just think that's a fun change to it, instead of him being in the sterile environment of the FBI headquarters, to take the pill, actually bringing it to him and seeing the world through his eyes is a fun trip. And especially when he's in the subway and he borrows an instrument and plays it, and is having everybody play along is fun. But more importantly than people playing along is the fact that an ex, the one that got away, as Brian calls it, sees him in this moment, and he takes full advantage of the NZT and is the best version of himself to his prior love interest. And I just think that that's a fun concept. And the upside of it is Brian gets his ex's number, which is, it's always nice to win in the end, if you will.
See, guys, brain power matters in brawn.
That's a true story. That's a true story. Yeah, like women always say the line that, it's the sense of humor that matters. It's not the looks or the whatever. But it's like, because to me, a sense of humor is a sign of intelligence. It's showing your wit and your charm. And so it's nice to see good people get good things. And but I'll also say this: don't get used to it.
Yes.
Because it's limitless, and it's a world full of manipulation. So.
Ooh, that is so good. Yeah, it is a world full of manipulation. That's perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, because Robert De Niro's character from the film thought that he could put Senator Morrow under his thumb, and you're going to do things my way to get the NZT, right? But the funny thing is, Edward Morrow himself is using not NZT itself, but his NZT side effect blocker as his way to manipulate his way into Brian's life and to get him to do what he wants. But yeah, manipulation just feels like, and wouldn't it be like, why if you had the power to bless or curse those around you? I mean, don't get me wrong, Brian doesn't do it because he's the good guy, but like, I can totally understand a world where bad people use powerful things to do bad stuff to people, so
right.
It feels believable.
Right, it's using your maximum mental capability to its fullest limit. So why wouldn't you want to take advantage? Well, yes, in people's mind, why would I take advantage
Absolutely.
of this great situation?
Yes.
And, ooh, man, that's so good. Ooh.
Well, and that's the beauty of the show, is it uses that human element, that and not just the show, the movie itself, the world that they have created. It takes human desires and amplifies them. Whether it's Brian's good, where it amplifies him wanting to help his father and gives him the capability to do so, or in the case of Eddie's desire to gain adulation and power.
Kind of like the super soldier serum. It just makes you more of what
that's good. That's good.
Are.
Yeah, Red Skull and Captain America.
Yeah,
I like that.
Oh wow, I never really. Yeah. Ooh.
And yeah, that's the perfect analogy that you came up with there, because whatever whatever you have already within you is what the NZT heightens, and that's actually very similar to something Rebecca Harris says to Brian Finch in this episode. So I'll jump to that spot where Brian is worried that his ex Shauna only wants him because of NZT, and Rebecca says, "It's not NZT that makes you special; it's you that makes the NZT in you important." Because she's able to see what we as the viewer also sees, which is his positive attributes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a great call with the Captain America observation.
I'm liking this show even more.
So the episode is entitled "The Legend of Marco Ramos," and it's funny. Brian, who is great at fantasizing and imagining things, because a lot of times he can't be out there in the field with the team. He'll imagine what the takedown was like, or what kind of fight the bad guy put up. And so while he's imagining one of these scenarios, I said to myself, "Man, this feels very Dirty Harry." It's like the 1970s. Do you feel lucky? Well, do you punk kind of things, or almost like a Starsky and Hutch type of scenario. Just because that's the way he's imagining, or the way I interpret his imagination at least. And the point is, it's fun, and it's just the outsider way of seeing the cop life, because like we're not privy to that life, but we all can have what we imagine things to be, and it's just fun seeing it from his perspective. But yeah, after they bust a person and he imagines what it's like, Brian remembers the Olympics from when he was a kid, and how he says, "Oh, I think it was this guy, because of how good he was at shooting and how tall he was." He's like, "I bet that's La Sabra." Anyway, the assassin that Marco Ramos has hired. And so after putting together some of the pieces, they grab this Olympian dude, bring him in, and he's missing the hand that he used to shoot with. And so like, well, I mean, all the other things added up, but it ain't him, clearly. Not now, at least. And so throughout this interrogation, it's brought to light, and that La Sabre is a myth that Marco Ramos created. And instantly, it reminded me of one of my all-time favorite movies, potentially my most favorite movie. I'm just not 100% sure that I can give it that perfect 7-star rating. I'm going to have to rewatch it and see. But
okay.
One of my favorite movies in the history of movies is The Princess Bride. You ever seen it?
Oh, yes.
So it's just, within the context of the film, it says it's got action and adventure and swashbuckling and romance and all this, because the kid, he asked his grandfather, he's like, "This isn't a kissing story, is it?" And so that's when the grandfather tells him all these things. But within it, there is a myth of the Dread Pirate Roberts, and the Dread Pirate Roberts was a moniker that was handed down because the myth of itself was more important than the person. And I bring this up because within this episode of Limitless, there are actually 2 myths that are held up. One is Marco Ramos's La Sabre, or La Sabra, whatever, the assassin character. But then, as the episode's playing out, I took a note, and I don't remember where exactly it is, but I said to myself, I was like, I bet you Marco himself is just a legend.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had seen this 17, 18, 19, 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. So maybe I remembered, but I'm also pretty alright at figuring out the little plot twist.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first time we meet the local cops, not the feds, I was like, "Y'all are dirty." Like I was pretty honest. I was like, "Y'all are dirty." And when you got them dirty cops, I was like, I bet they're the ones keeping things keeping the myth alive. And so spoiler, I was right, because like I said, I don't know if it was memory or if it was just good at figuring things out. But
hey, you're Mr. Super Oz, man.
that's a true story. Yeah, that's where the title came from. But yeah, as the episode was playing out, so we take a couple of side tangents away from the legend of Marco Ramos and from LeSabre himself, and we dive into a date or two with Brian and his ex Shauna. And on one of the dates, Brian realizes that Shauna's about to lose her apartment, and so he does some research to find out that it is actually a historical site, and he is able to save her apartment because of the fact that there's a painting behind one of the walls. And while explaining this to Shauna, he brings up the House Un-American Activities, where they were investigating communists, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, while this is a very good, interesting, and compelling scene where Shauna is clearly falling for Brian once again, I actually took a step back, and whenever I hear about the House or the Senate or government things, I almost always think about something I hate, and it burns me up inside. So there's a documentary I've watched multiple times that Ryan Reynolds does the voiceover for. It's called the Secret Origins of the DC Universe. Maybe it's just the origins of the DC Universe. Regardless, the point is, in this documentary that Ryan Reynolds voices over, I learned so many things about DC Comics, but also comics in general. And one of those things that I learned is what created the Comics Code Authority. Do you know what that was?
Mm.
So the Senate, they looked into, or they had this thing to look into comics because they were corrupting the youth. This terrible human being that I dislike immensely. Now, maybe he wasn't a terrible human being, but in my mind, bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Frederick Wortham, he wrote a book called The Seduction of the Innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, he blamed comics for bondage, homosexuality, all kinds of bad things. Because he said that Batman and Robin are clearly homosexuals, and all kinds of other ludicrous concepts. And when Brian was bringing up the House looking into un-American activities, it brought up Frederick Wortham to my mind. Now, granted, they're two totally separate things, but I hate thinking about that guy's book and just the talking bad about comics in general. Because I personally am a big fan of comics.
Oh yeah.
So much so that I wrote myself a 68-page graphic novel that is available on Etsy.com. Limited first printings is still available by me. This is the Jeff Hicks cover. There were only ever 100 of this cover printed. This is a Nick Crook cover. There were only ever 50 of these printed. There are very few of either still remaining, but you can get yourself a first printing if you click the link in the description below. And once these sell out, these two covers will never be printed again. There are two new covers coming. Well, there are brand new covers coming, that's what I'll say. And, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I just about, polluting the youth.
Yes.
Is one of always, I think, the hottest topics of almost.
Oh yeah.
Now with video games.
Exactly. I watched a documentary called Moral Combat, which was an entire hour and a half of just talking heads talking down to Mortal Kombat and how it's
gonna cause mass murders and
exactly
GTA and stuff.
Yeah, stupid crap. But to finish rounding out this point of topic, Darwin Cook, my favorite artist, one of my favorite writers, R.I.P. Love that man. He turned that negative into a positive when he wrote New Frontier, which was based around the government looking into comic books, but he turned it on its head and had them looking into superheroes in the world. Actually, I feel like The Incredibles does that really well. Yep, that's what I was about
to say, The Incredibles.
And so, I don't know if they came at it from that same Darwin Cook New Frontier perspective where they said, hey, this happened in real life, so let's do it in the movie, or if it was not based on that at all. But wherever it came from, it was well executed within The Incredibles.
Mm-hmm.
And so, back to Limitless, because that's what we're here for. But yeah, that side topic is something I'll always talk about, because blaming content for things that you find to be distasteful is stupid.
Yeah.
Because even okay, I'm not going back to Limitless. I'm gonna stay on this soapbox for just one more minute.
Hey,
because even if you, let's say you think that today's comics are bad, right? Because plenty of people do. Easy solution: don't buy it, don't read it. Find folks that produce things you like, and then support that. Much like how you can support this channel by sharing the video with your friends, liking the video, and subscribing to the channel. So the channel itself, it gets lots of views. Lots of times in excess of hundreds, sometimes in excess of thousands, but it is still stuck at a low number of subscribers. So you can help fix that by clicking the subscribe button.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, actually, back to Limitless. So things are going so well with Shauna that she actually stays over at Brian's place. She falls asleep on his chest, and when Mike walks in, he slaps Brian on the face to wake him up. And it's really good stuff. It's entertaining. It's fun. It's not a hard slap. It's an affectionate, like, hey buddy, what are you doing? We got special secret pill stuff to do, and you got this lady here. And so yeah, it's just it's good to see good things happen to good people. Is my basic interpretation of that. It does turn out that I was right, that Marco Ramos is just a legend, because he is dead in a deep freezer. Been dead for years. The dirty cops were the ones that were hiding the body, and Brian and the FBI are able to bust the dirty cops. It seems like all is well in the world of Brian until we meet a new character named Sands. And Brian says, "Just Sands?" He's like, Mr. Sands. He says to him that your fortunes are about to run out, because the shot that you got from Mr. Morrow only lasts so long, and that if you don't get him what he wants, then you're going to experience,
the side effects.
The side effects, exactly. Terrible pain. And but the thing that I think really turned Brian around, because at first, if it's just him experiencing bad stuff, he may have never cracked. But Sands also tells Brian that there's no one that you call friend or family that we can't get to. And then Sands leaves, and here comes Shauna, and Brian is like, crap.
Yep.
Things were going so good. I thought things were going to be all right. And then he has to do what he doesn't want to do, and he breaks her heart. She had broken his in the past, but he wasn't the person he is right now, and he has to do the right thing, which is break up with her or break it off so that she can't be used against him.
Right, the whole superhero trope.
Oh, it is.
To protect you, I have to.
I gotta say though that this does it so well. So often, I wonder to myself, was anybody really in danger in, like you said, the superhero trope? Like,
well, Spider-Man is like the.
He's big time.
Yeah.
It happens to him regularly, right? But like there are plenty of times where it's like, Alfred, you're gonna be all right, buddy.
Yeah. Or Superman. Anytime Superman it's like I'm worried about you. It's like you're freaking Superman.
Exactly. Okay? You got this. You got this.
Faster than the speed of light. You can just
problem solved.
Yeah, problem solved.
But yeah, so this really made sense, because Brian can't be honest with his family. He can't even be honest with his FBI handlers. And so certainly if he can't be honest with the closest people to him, then he can't be honest with a woman that he just reconnected with. And it really leads to it being understandable, where he's like, I'm not going to take that chance. And we don't even get to see it. We only get to experience the repercussions, because he goes to Rebecca Harris because she's like, are we on the personal level? And he's like, we have to be. because I've got nobody else. And I'll be honest, I can't remember if they get together, but like the more time they spend together, the more I'm kind of like, I'm pulling for it. And so, yeah, so the thing that Sands wants, or Morrow wants, that he's sending Sands to get from Brian is what the FBI knows about NZT. And that is important and is the complete driving force of the next episode. But because of the introduction of Sands, because of the reintroduction of Sean into Brian's world, and because of Brian doing the right thing and standing up, being the moral center of the entire show, I once again, for the third week in a row, give it 5 out of 5. I thought it was an excellent episode. It just felt, like you said, it was the superhero trope, but, and like I said, done super well. And so I am loving this show, and I'm loving the trip down memory lane with you here on the channel and with you here in person. Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
What'd you think of the episode?
5 out of 5. But like what you said with Heartbreak, it's coming, but also it's coming even figuratively because sadly, the show doesn't get picked up again.
Right.
So it's always like one of those things that's dreaded.
So here's what I kind of was worried about that as starting this Wednesday Rewind, because Ahmed, our mutual friend, he was like, "Oh, I won't even watch a show if I know it got canceled." And so I thought, maybe this isn't the best way to go about it. But after the first time we did this, and we both made a pitch for, you said HBO Max, and I said Paramount Plus. I don't care who picks it up.
Yeah, whoever, yeah.
The fact is, what's his name? Brian Finch, the actor, still looks good.
Bradley Cooper, A-list actor.
Oh my goodness, yeah. You could put him in anything, and that's going to sell some tickets, and it's certainly going to sell some subscriptions if it's a streaming service. So I think that it has the ability to be picked back up at any point in time, because it was a 6-year gap between the film and the first season of the show, and the show ended in 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So we're at 7 years now. Pick it back up. I'm telling you, when we finish this, I think that, fingers crossed, it will get everybody jonesing for some more, and let's hope that we can get some Limitless from multiple perspectives. Like I said, we want the dirtiest of dirty guys. We want the cleanest of clean people.
Yeah, because it's so broad and vast with NZT that you can go.
Oh, you know what I think that it would be like if you get the multiple perspective. You ever play DC Universe Online? So in DC Universe Online, you have the choice whether to be mentored by Batman or the Joker, Superman or Lex Luthor, and if you come into the new version of Limitless, the TV show, from not just one perspective, but all of the perspectives of how NZT can affect the user, I think it would make for a spectacular trip. Yeah. And so, yeah.
You know what would be good?
What's that?
I can pitch this, and I think it will be good for the next person, someone who is of college age or maybe high school, and they get NZT, and then you will see like. But the issue with NZT is, what would the college age or high school person? What would be the use of them? Like Brian is being used because of the FBI. Eddie is like, oh, okay, he gets it, but he's being used for political.
So the first thing that comes to my mind when you bring up college is 21 Jump Street.
Okay.
I think it was 21. I'm pretty sure it was 21, not 22. No, it was 22 Jump Street because 21 they were in high school, 22 they're in college.
Right.
You're right. So it's 22 Jump Street is what came to mind. And so the person who takes it in college doesn't know that it's NZT. They don't know that it's a brain heightening drug. They think it's the new street drug. And so it's, it's clear, it's cool, it's interesting. And so then it's not this one, that character would not be doing it for either good or ill. They would be a very neutral character because they think they're just at a party. It's, oh, who wants some X?
Right.
But it's,
And then you're like, oh, I'm going to be smarter. And then they take the exam the next day. They're like, what the hell? It's like...
Well, yeah, I think that would be good. And with the right person in the role, it'd be the perfect score kind of concept where, except instead of stealing the answers, you got all the answers tucked away in your head. You just didn't even know it. Yeah, no, I think it has so much potential to be brought back.
Yeah, and as much petitions that are out there, I think a lot of petitions are like crap because it's like, what's the point?
Absolutely.
I think a petition for this show, if
absolutely
would do
no,
wonders.
I agree 100%. But speaking of coming back, come back next week when we look at page 44, the fourth episode of Limitless, that reveals new truths about the characters that we know. And speaking of coming back, come back on Friday. And see you next Monday for Monday Movie Mayhem. And yeah, thank you very much. See you next time.
See ya.